Hi, Lee Phillips here. I want to talk to you about how can you change your will? Can you write on your will? Does that change it? What happens if you write on a will? If you write on a will, does that invalidate the will? So these are questions I get quite often. The fact of the matter is a will is kind of a sacred item. And there are lots of rules associated with the will. Never write on a will. It does invalidate it. If you write on a will, it invalidates the will. Now you could have a handwritten will. That's called a holographic will. And it has to be all in your own handwriting. There has to be nothing else on the page. We've actually got a video on holographic wills. So you can look at that. I'm talking different. I'm talking people go through and they want to make a little change. So they write on the will and then they initial it. That invalidates the whole will. That's the bad thing. If you want to change the will, you've got to do a formal change. They call it a codicil or an amendment. It's usually just easier to rewrite your whole will and get it out there. So don't ever write on your will. A will has to be on a piece of paper that doesn't have anything else on it. You can type the whole thing and then sign it, but if you type it on the letterhead of the hotel, we get that quite often in the holographic wills. They're in the hotel, something's wrong, they write out their will, and it's got the letterhead of the hotel on the top. That invalidates it. So be careful when you look at a will. Don't ever write on it. You've got to change it formally. You can't just write on it and initial it. People will come in and they will bring their will to me and they've made all these notes all over it. That invalidates it. If they died in the meantime, between the time they wrote all over it and brought it into me and we get a new one done, we got a problem. So, easy story here, guys. Don't forget to like us and love us and all of that stuff. And what you really ought to do is use a trust. Now, trust is always going to have a will. We've got videos on that sort of stuff. Get my ebook. Just click on it, get it on how to use a trust. We talk about wills because the trust is always going to have a will. It's called a pour-over will, and it will be a formalized will. And by the way, if you type the will, it has to be witnessed by two people. And you don't have to have it notarized, but you do have to have it witnessed. Often it is notarized, and we call that a self-proving will because the notary is the agent of the state, and they have testified that the two witnesses signed it and you signed it. So we don't ever have to go to court and argue whether it was properly signed or not. So a notary is a good idea sometimes too. But take-home message here, don't write on it.